You've submitted hundreds of CVs and attended dozens of interviews. When the automated rejection emails hit your inbox at 2 in the morning, generated by a faceless computer program that scanned your resume for keywords and decided you simply were not a match, it is incredibly easy to take it personally. You sit in your room and you start to doubt yourself. You wonder if your college degree was a waste of time. You wonder if you said the wrong thing in your last interview. You start to believe that you just do not have the right skills for today's economy. And even if you do manage to get the job, the excitement usually fades fast. 3 to 6 months later, the thrill is completely gone. You wake up feeling exhausted, completely misaligned with the company culture, and quietly desperate for a way out. You write a resignation letter, jump back onto the job boards, and start the painful cycle all over again. This loop can trap you for years, leaving you constantly wondering why you cannot seem to find a job that offers good pay, a decent environment, and a sense of actual purpose. The reason you are failing to find the right job has absolutely nothing to do with your skills, your intelligence, or the current state of the economy. You are failing because you are playing the wrong game. You are looking at the job market through a highly emotional, romanticized lens, but the job market is looking at you through a lens of cold, hard math. When you read a job description online, you are getting tricked by clever marketing. You look for words like culture, passion, growth, and family. You trick yourself into believing that the human resources department sat down in a meeting and designed this job specifically to help you grow as a person and validate your unique personality. This is a massive mental trap. A company does not write a job description to find a best friend or to build a loving community. A job description is a purchase order. The job market is not a support group. It is a biological trading floor. The company has money, and it needs a specific task completed to make a profit. You have a brain, you have time, and you have physical energy. The company simply wants to rent your brain or your body for the lowest possible price. That is the entire relationship. You remain stuck in your career because you keep searching for a magic job that lets you do what you love without asking for anything painful in return. I need to be brutally honest with you. That job does not exist. If you want to stop feeling lost and finally take control of your career, you have to drop the illusions. You have to look at the exact mechanics of how companies price your labor, how they consume your body, and how they monetize your mind. There are 7 brutal realities of the labor market that you need to understand right now. Once you see the math behind these realities, you will stop looking for a corporate soulmate, and you will start negotiating a survival contract that actually works in your favor. The first reality you need to wake up to is the passion discount. This is how companies use your hobbies and interests to actively exploit you. We have all heard the advice: follow your passion, do what you love, and you will never work a day in your life. This sounds like wonderful life advice, but in the corporate world, this phrase is a highly effective weapon used to suppress your wages. The job market is driven by supply and demand, but it is also driven by psychological leverage. When you apply for a job in an industry that society views as fun, creative, or deeply meaningful, like video game development, graphic design, journalism, public teaching, or charity work, you immediately put yourself at a massive financial disadvantage. The people running these companies are running the numbers. They know that you desperately want to do this work. They know that your identity is tied to being an artist, a writer, or a humanitarian. Because you get so much personal joy and social validation from the job itself, the employer knows they do not have to pay you top dollar. They are essentially paying a large chunk of your salary in the invisible currency of purpose. They give you the privilege of working on something cool, and in exchange, they keep the cash. This is the passion discount. Organizations use your dedication against you. They demand crazy hours and disguise it as hustle. They ask you to work through the weekend and disguise it as being a team player. You might find yourself working 60 hours a week at a trendy, creative agency, making $50,000 a year, totally burned out, but terrified to quit because you want to build a cool portfolio. Meanwhile, an accountant at a boring paper supply company is working a strict 40-hour week and making $90,000. The paper company knows nobody is passionate about auditing paper sales, so they have to pay a premium in cold, hard cash to keep someone in that chair. The creative agency knows you love designing, so they pay you in exposure and vibes. You are not trapped because you lack talent. You are trapped because you are letting the market price your love into your employment contract. The company will take your passion for free every single time. If you want to succeed, you have to learn to separate what you love from how you pay your rent. The second reality you must understand is the illusion of the corporate family. This is the biggest lie in the modern workplace. You probably want your workplace to feel like a community. You are attracted to job postings that promise a collaborative culture, ping pong tables in the break room, free Friday lunches, and open door policies. You invest your ego into the company. You wear the company t-shirt on the weekends. You stay late to help your boss. You do all of this because you assume that if you are loyal to the company will protect you when times get tough. This is a very dangerous way to think. A company cannot be your family. A family is tied together by unconditional love and support, regardless of how much money is in the bank. A company is a legal entity that exists for one single purpose: to make a profit for its owners or shareholders. When a manager stands up in a meeting and says, "We are a family here," they are not sharing genuine emotion. They are using a psychological trick. They use the word family because it makes you feel guilty if you leave at 5 o'clock. It makes you feel guilty if you ask for a raise. They want the unconditional loyalty of a family member, but they only want to pay the salary of a standard employee. You also need to understand the true purpose of human resources. Many people think HR is there to act as a therapist, or a friend, or a shield against a bad boss. That is completely false. HR exists to protect the company from lawsuits. They exist to manage public relations and keep the workers operating smoothly. They do not protect you from the company. They protect the company from you. If you look at the company's actual financial spreadsheets, your name is not listed as a treasured asset. You are listed under operating expenses. You are a cost. If the executives realize that firing you will make the company's profit margin go up by 0.5%, your corporate family will fire you in 10 minutes. The process is completely mechanical. HR calls you into a quick meeting. They hand you a box for your things. Your email is shut off before you even reach your car. The company opens the next day as if you never existed. You cannot keep jumping from job to job, feeling heartbroken when a company treats you like a number. You are a number. You are renting out your skills to a buyer. You have to keep your identity separate from your employer, because the employer will drop you the second the math stops making sense. The third reality is the blue-collar equation. This is the reality of physical depreciation. Let's look at the manual labor market. You see commercial truck drivers, warehouse workers, construction welders, and oil rig workers making $70,000 or $80,000 a year. You might think, wow, they are getting paid great money for their hard work and driving skills. But you are misunderstanding the trade. The company is not paying them a premium just because they know how to drive a truck or operate a forklift. Almost anyone can learn those skills in a few weeks. That large paycheck is actually compensation for the physical destruction of their body over time. When you take a job driving a long-haul truck, you are not just providing transportation. You are selling the company your absence from your home. You are selling your right to sleep in a normal bed. You are selling your chance to be at your kid's birthday party. You are also selling your physical health. Sitting in a vibrating seat for 11 hours a day, eating fast food at rest stops, destroys your spine and your cardiovascular system. The company is literally buying the deterioration of your lower back. It is the same in a massive e-commerce warehouse. The company treats you like a biological machine because real robots are still too expensive. They track every step you take with an algorithm. They measure how many seconds it takes you to pick an item. They track your bathroom breaks. They are not buying your problem-solving skills. They are buying the cartilage in your knees. They are buying the discs in your spine. This is a biological countdown clock. In your 20s and 30s, your body is strong. You can work the crazy shifts, take the overtime, and watch your bank account grow. You think you are winning, but it is a trap. By the time you hit 50, your body is broken. Your knees are gone. Your hearing is damaged from the factory noise, and your back is in constant pain. Once you can no longer meet the algorithm's speed requirements, the company simply discards you and hires a fresh 20-year-old. Then, you have to take all that money you saved and give it to the healthcare system just to manage your pain. You are not getting paid to work. You are getting paid to slowly surrender your physical health. If you choose this path, you have to know exactly what you are selling. The fourth reality is the white-collar equation. This is the reality of mental exhaustion. A lot of people see the physical toll of blue-collar work and run the other way. They aim for the clean, air-conditioned offices. They want to be software engineers, lawyers, finance analysts, and corporate consultants. They look at the massive salaries, $150,000, $200,000, even $300,000 a year. They see the prestige, the fancy titles, and the health benefits. They assume the company is paying them all that money because they went to a great college and have a very smart brain. Again, this is a massive misunderstanding. Your degree and your intelligence just get you in the front door. The company is not just buying your intelligence, the company is buying your absolute mental bandwidth and your total peace of mind. Let's take a software engineer making 200 grand at a big tech firm. The tech industry moves ridiculously fast. The coding languages you know today will be completely useless in 3 years. To keep your job, you have to live in a state of constant anxiety. You have to spend your evenings and your weekends studying new software just to stay relevant. You spend 12 hours a day staring at complex code. Your brain becomes so wired for digital logic that you struggle to unplug and be present with your family. Now look at the corporate lawyer or the investment banker. The firm pays them $250,000, but they do not just buy legal advice or spreadsheets. They buy the right to interrupt your life at any given moment. They buy the guarantee that when your phone buzzes at 3 in the morning on a Sunday, you will wake up, open your laptop, and do what the boss asks. They buy your willingness to cancel your anniversary dinner or your family vacation because a client has an emergency. The company also buys your moral detachment. You might be asked to figure out a way to fire 500 factory workers to save the company money, and you have to do it with a straight face. You get extreme wealth, but the cost is your psychological freedom. The company buys your brain, and it demands to use every single inch of it. You might be physically sitting on the couch watching a movie with your spouse, but your brain is still chained to a corporate server. The money is massive, but it is compensation for giving up your autonomy. The fifth reality is the truth about middle management. As you grind away in your career, you start to feel the heavy weight of the daily work. You look up at your boss and think, if I can just get promoted to manager or director, things will be better. I will have more control, more respect, and I will not have to do the grunt work anymore. You fight for years to get that title, thinking it is the key to freedom. You could not be more wrong. The title of manager is not a reward for your brilliant leadership skills. Middle management is a meticulously engineered shock absorber for the company. The executives at the very top of the company operate in a bubble. They look at spreadsheets and demand impossible things, like record-breaking profits every single quarter, regardless of how the market is doing. Down at the bottom, the entry-level workers are stressed, underpaid, and angry about being pushed to work harder. When you accept a promotion to middle management, you are agreeing to become the human shield placed directly between these two angry groups. The company does not promote you to hear your visionary ideas. They promote you to buy your ability to handle anxiety. You no longer do the actual work that used to give you a sense of accomplishment. Instead, your job is to take the impossible, delusional goals from the executives and force your unhappy team to achieve them. You spend your entire day in pointless meetings, filling out compliance reports, and playing therapist to employees who are fighting with each other. You are held responsible for mistakes you did not personally make. You are forced to enforce rules that you secretly know are stupid. The company gives you a slight bump in pay to buy your sleep. You are the one who has to lie awake at night stressing about budgets, employee turnover, and performance metrics. You are not managing the business. You are just managing the panic. You are absorbing the stress so the executives do not have to feel it. The sixth reality is the loyalty tax. This is the reality that explains why you feel so undervalued and financially stuck. A lot of people still believe in the old school idea of company loyalty. You get a job, you put your head down, you do great work, and you stay there for 6, 7, or 8 years. You take on extra projects without complaining. You assume the company is keeping score. You assume that when the annual review comes around, the company will reward your hard work and your institutional knowledge with a massive raise. But that is not what happens. You walk into the review, the boss gives you a bunch of excuses about tight budgets, and they hand you a standard 3% raise. A 3% raise barely covers the cost of inflation, which means you are actually making less money than you were the year before. Then, a few weeks later, you find out that the company just hired a brand new person to do the exact same job as you, and they offered the new guy 20% more money than you are making right now. You feel incredibly betrayed. You take it personally. You think the boss hates you, but it is not personal. It is just corporate budgeting. Every major company splits its money into 2 different buckets: the budget to keep current employees and the budget to hire new ones. The budget to keep you is kept as small as possible. The company knows a fundamental truth about human psychology. People are terrified of change. They know you do not want to go through the hassle of updating your resume. They know you are scared of bombing an interview. They know you prefer the comfort of your current desk over the risk of a new office. The company calculates your fear of change and prices it into your salary. They know they do not have to pay you what you are actually worth. They only have to pay you just enough to stop you from quitting. This difference between what you are worth and what you are paid is called the loyalty tax. You are being financially punished for being comfortable. On the other hand, the budget to hire new people is huge. To convince someone to leave their safe job and come work for a new company, the employer has to offer a massive pile of cash to overcome that person's fear of change. The labor market operates like a mercenary battlefield. It does not reward the loyal soldier who stays in the trench. It only rewards the soldier who is willing to jump to a new army. If you stay at the same desk, waiting for HR to finally realize how valuable you are, you will wait forever. Your salary will stagnate. To make real money in this market, you have to treat your skills like a product. You have to be completely ruthless. You have to be willing to leave your current company the second a better offer comes along. You treat your job like a marriage, but the company treats it like a month-to-month lease. If you want to get paid, you have to stop being loyal to a logo. The seventh and final reality is the tolerance threshold. This is how you actually find the right job. You are stuck in a cycle of misery because you are using the wrong strategy to pick your career. You take personality tests. You try to figure out if you are an introvert or an extrovert, and you ask yourself deep, philosophical questions about what brings you joy. You have to throw all of that out the window. Joy and fulfillment are the wrong metrics to use when dealing with an economic machine. Using those metrics will only lead you back to being exploited. To find the right path, you need to use a cold, calculated matrix with two axes. The first axis is a brutal audit of your actual assets. What do you have that a company is forced to buy? You need to be totally honest with yourself here. If you have incredible physical stamina, if you do not mind repetitive tasks, and if you demand to leave your work at the door the second your shift ends, your asset is physical labor. If you are incredibly outgoing, if you can handle people telling you no 50 times a day without crying, and if you know a lot of people with money, your asset is sales and wealth management. If you went to a top-tier university, if you can survive on 4 hours of sleep, and if you care deeply about status and prestige, your asset belongs in corporate law or investment banking. If you are highly introverted, if you love math, and if you want to write computer code all day without talking to humans, your asset is in tech and engineering. The second axis is the most important one. It is your tolerance threshold. You have to figure out exactly what kind of pain you are willing to endure. This is the secret to a successful career. Every single job is going to extract a toll from you. There is no job that does not hurt in some way. Your only strategic advantage is getting to pick the weapon that hurts you. Are you going to choose the blue-collar path? If so, you must accept that your knees and your back will eventually give out. You will be physically exhausted, and your income will eventually hit a ceiling based on how much your body can endure. Are you going to choose the white-collar corporate path? If so, you must accept that you will have almost no personal time. Your boss will own your weekends. You will constantly worry about falling behind in technology, and your mental peace will be destroyed. Are you going to choose the middle management path? If so, you must accept the deep emotional exhaustion of dealing with office politics, playing the bad guy, taking the blame for upper management, and enforcing rules you hate. Are you going to choose the creative, passion-driven path? If so, you must accept that you will be vastly underpaid, you will be overworked, and the company will constantly use your love for the art to manipulate you into working for free. The right job is not the one that makes you jump out of bed with a massive smile on your face every morning. That is a fairy tale. The right job is a simple transaction. It is a job that demands a specific type of pain and a specific type of mental or physical exhaustion that you are actually okay with trading for a specific amount of money. It is the job where you can sustain the required damage the longest without totally losing your mind. You are not looking for a soulmate in a cubicle. You are calculating a survival strategy. The cycle of applying, getting excited, getting burned out, and quitting has to end today. The illusion of the perfect, flawless career needs to be destroyed in your mind right now. The next time you sit down at your computer to update your resume, you need to completely shift your perspective. The next time you open LinkedIn or Indeed to read a job description, you have to stop reading it with your emotions. You have to ignore your personal desires for a fun workplace. You must completely ignore the bright corporate logos. You must ignore the beautiful mission statements about changing the world. You must ignore the promises of a fun culture with happy hours and beanbag chairs. You must absolutely reject the toxic illusion of the corporate family. All of these things are just cheap marketing tricks designed to lower your guard, make you emotional, and suppress your financial value. You must read every job posting through the cold, unyielding lens of a financial transaction. You have to read it as a document of biological exchange, You are not begging a company to give you a place to belong. You are not searching for a new group of friends. You are entering into a strict commercial contract. You are the supplier of a very specific biological or intellectual asset. The corporation is the buyer of that asset. That is the entire scope of your relationship with them. A corporation does not hire you to fund your personal passions. A corporation does not hire you to help you figure out who you are. It buys your time, it buys your spine, or it buys your peace of mind at a wholesale discount. Then, it uses your time, your spine, or your mind to create a product, and it sells that product back to the open market at a massive premium. That is the fundamental equation of capitalism. You cannot change this equation. You cannot wish it away. You can only learn how to navigate it so you do not get crushed. The market is a machine. It does not have feelings. It does not care if you had a bad day. It only calculates numbers. The market asks one ruthless question, and it asks this question every single day of your working life. What part of yourself are you willing to sell first? What part of your body will you break down? What part of your mind will you surrender? And at what exact price are you willing to make that trade? Once you can answer that question honestly, without any emotion, you will stop wandering aimlessly through your career. You will stop suffering from unmet expectations because you will stop expecting a company to love you back. You will finally find the right job. You will sign the contract knowing exactly what you are giving up. You will endure the specific cost you chose. You will take the capital. You will survive. You will walk away from the illusion. You will see the matrix of the labor market for exactly what it is. You will negotiate without fear, because you know the rules of the game. You will trade your labor without emotion. You will protect your identity from the corporate machine. You will find meaning, joy, and passion on your own time, with your own friends and family. You will extract capital on their time. This is the brutal reality of the labor market. You must accept it, understand it, and master it if you want to win.